Welcome to TMZ Live. Donald Trump is in some trouble because the House Oversight Committee, the Democrats, have released a slew of emails. And when you put them all together, it looks like there is something that Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump knew about their relationship that Epstein was saying Trump did not want to get out.
Right. In fact, the way one of the emails that Jeffrey Epstein, an exchange he is having with Michael Wolff, the author, who wrote, of course, about Trump's first administration and was also trying to write a book about Jeffrey Epstein. But the two of them are having an email exchange in December of 2015. And this was right before there was going to be a CNN debate for the Republican candidates. And Michael Wolff says to Epstein, I hear CNN is planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you. And Epstein responds, if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? And Wolff responds, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the House, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. If it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt. And that's a paraphrase of, there's a lot more that was said in that email, but that's the meat of it there where he says...
And the point is that if it's simply, yeah, we socialized together like a million other people did, you don't have to craft an answer. But what they're saying is that whatever Donald Trump would say would raise eyebrows. I mean, I think that's the only way you can look at it, to a point where they're saying you could actually blackmail him if he wins. I mean, they're essentially saying that.
But also, I think, isn't it interesting that Epstein is saying, if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? Is he asking that because he actually thinks, let's come up with some ideas and I'm going to pitch them?
No, he thinks
Trump
before the
debate?
It looks to me like Michael Wolff had some inside information, perhaps, that somebody at CNN, which was holding the debate, would ask a question about Epstein. And if that was asked, and it was on Michael Wolff's radar, he told Epstein and said, we could either craft an answer or he could hang himself.
I agree with that, but I also think it's interesting that is Epstein asking because he actually can get a potential answer that they craft to Donald Trump at that point?
I think so. I think that's
exactly. Is he going to pick up the phone and call
I think that's exactly
Trump
the point.
and say, here's what you should say if they ask?
That's exactly the point, that there seemed to be some access.
Because this was, again, December 2015. Jeffrey Epstein was out. He had been convicted in Florida, but he's out.
And there's more. And there's more.
Right. So there's that. And then there is, this is really interesting. In April of 2011, Jeffrey Epstein is emailing Ghislaine Maxwell and said, I want you to realize that that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Victim's name redacted, spent hours at my house with him. Trump.
We know that's Virginia Giuffre.
Virginia Giuffre, right. Well, the White House says it's Virginia Giuffre. Right. He meaning Trump, has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. And then Ghislaine responds, I have been thinking about that.
So that then raises a question, and this again, you said, 2011.
Right.
That they're saying the dog that hasn't barked. Now, I don't think this means that Donald Trump did anything untoward, because even Virginia said in her memoir that he didn't.
She had met with him, and he was
didn't.
Always very pleasant and did nothing untoward.
But what it could mean, and what it seems to mean, to me at least, is he knows stuff.
Right.
And that dog hasn't barked. The dog not barking is Donald Trump. Barking is blowing the whistle. And then then you have Ghislaine Maxwell saying, yeah, I've been thinking about that too, as if
she knows it.
She knows that Donald Trump knows stuff about us or you, and it's been on my mind. That's a big statement.
It's huge. Going back to your point about whether or not he did anything untoward, I agree. There's nothing there's nothing about that. But according to Epstein, Donald Trump spent 4 hours with her, a underage victim, 4 hours at Epstein's house. And we know from the later correspondence that Ghislaine Maxwell says that Epstein says Trump knew about the young girls, knew what Epstein's predilections were. So Donald Trump, for 4 hours at Epstein's house, which is the first time we've ever heard that Donald Trump met one of the victims at Epstein's house, 4 hours with somebody he knows to be an underage victim of Epstein.
He knows to be underage. I think at that point, Virginia was not known to be a victim.
Well, no, but
like
Ghislaine Maxwell said
2011?
Trump knew about it.
She made the claim after
Trump
2011.
knew.
Yeah,
everybody
long
knew
after,
about it.
long
but
after, right.
Epstein had already been prosecuted once in 2008 for trafficking in underage girls. Trump knew who Epstein was, and in 2011 he's at Epstein's house with an underage girl. I'm not saying they did anything wrong.
I should say the
let's
Florida conviction was for prostitution.
Right.
Right, for solicitation.
Let's just cut to the chase. What it seems to be saying is that they seem to be saying Donald Trump knows a lot of stuff that we don't want him to necessarily talk about. And they even talk about police chiefs and what does, and remember,
What is that?
Donald Trump saying like, oh, I just, he was a creep at Mar-a-Lago and that's all I knew. Well, it seems like they're saying he knew a lot more.
Well, Epstein says, if he says he wasn't on my plane, we're going to hold that over him because we know that's a lie. This is the first time we've got
Well, he's admitted he was on the plane going from New York to Mar-a-Lago.
New York to Mar-a-Lago, exactly. But I think the suggestion
I think this is more
Epstein's
important.
house.
I think 2011 is more important because what they're saying is he knows about stuff we've done that could really get us in trouble. And I mean, that's the dog that didn't bark.
I wish there was someone what does that I'm 75% there mean?
Don't know what that means.
Yeah, he's obviously downplaying their relationship. It's evident that they were more than just friends, and him being a creep is like not the case. They have a relationship. We need to address the Epstein files. It just doesn't make sense to keep dragging this out.
Yeah, and believe me, at this point, I don't think his diversionary tactics are going to work. People want to know, and this is not going away.
No.
And I think they're getting tired of diversions.
Well, joining us now to talk more about these emails that have just been explosive and have raised all sorts of questions is a member of the House Oversight Committee, one of the Democrats that was involved in releasing them, Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury. Welcome back to TMZ Live.
Absolutely. Good to be with you guys.
Thank you, Congresswoman. The way I see this is in 2011, Epstein was telling Ghislaine Maxwell, this is the background where he had spent hours at Epstein's home where Virginia Giuffre was there, saying, there's a dog that didn't bark and that dog is Donald Trump. To me, that means he knows something about shenanigans. The president knew something, or Donald Trump knew something that was untoward, and he hasn't talked about it yet, and it seems like he hasn't talked about it up to this point either. Are you seeing it the same way?
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that in that very same email, and it's a very short email, he ends the sentence by mentioning the police. So not only does it implicate Donald Trump in hanging out with the victims of Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking, hanging out at Epstein's house, not barking, but he specifically mentions the police. So the question is, what was Donald Trump doing at Epstein's house? Why was he hanging out with the sex trafficking victim? And what did he not bark to the police? Now, I also think it's important that the president is in apparently a tailspin in the White House today. We have reports that they are continuing their pressure campaign to try to get Republicans off of the discharge petition, and that this is just throwing fuel onto the fire because Donald Trump knows that he's in the Epstein files, and they are engaged in a massive cover-up right now, and they are trying to make Congress complicit in it.
The other part of that email, Congresswoman, he says, I'm 75% there. We have been talking about this all morning. I'm wondering if you guys, what conversations you've had on the committee about that particular line, what he possibly meant.
We haven't discussed as a committee yet the entire tranche of documents. So all of these are questions that the Oversight Committee is investigating. And I think these emails, as you know, are explosive, and they absolutely implicate that the president is involved in this cover-up.
Well, I kind of see it a little bit differently. To me, it's a classic Watergate question. What did he know and when did he know it? Because I think the when he knew it is going to be really relevant, and especially with Ghislaine Maxwell. Does this raise questions for you about Ghislaine Maxwell suddenly getting transferred to this minimum security prison camp where Todd Blanche, the deputy AG, says she was forthright. I asked her every question in the book. One of the questions would be, did Donald Trump know anything that was untoward that was going on with Epstein? And it's pretty clear to me, she says he did know something when you read those emails. So it seems to me she lied.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, we know that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were best friends going back into the 90s. So to pretend like they didn't know what each other were up to for decades is, excuse my French, complete. Like Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were attached at the hip and hanging out all the time. And there's photographs of them. There's photographs with them with young women. We know that Donald Trump knows what was going on. But the question about why was Ghislaine Maxwell transferred to a minimum security prison after Donald Trump's personal attorney went and met with her? I think it's a pay-to-play scheme, right? He knows that she knows what Donald Trump knows. And so he sent his attorney down there to silence her and basically give her a sweetheart deal, put her someplace more comfortable. And we know from oversight investigations that Ghislaine Maxwell is actively seeking a commutation or pardon right now. And so I think that it's very obvious that the president knows that Maxwell is a potential witness for his own behavior involving Epstein.
Congresswoman, I can't imagine that this is coincidence that these 2,300 pages of documents came out today on a day when the Speaker of the House is about to, just hours from now, about to swear in the new Arizona Congresswoman Grijalva, who has said that she will be the deciding vote and she will sign the petition to release all of the Epstein files. Have you or any members of the committee had any conversations with her as of yet about these emails or about the files in general?
Adelita Grijalva, who will be sworn in at 4 p.m. this afternoon, has already publicly committed to signing on to the discharge petition. I think it's important to make sure that the public knows we're not immediately going to vote on that discharge petition. It'll take 7 days for that to ripen once we have those 218 signatures, and then the Speaker has 2 days to bring it to a floor vote. But that's why the White House is actively trying to get the Republicans who signed on to it to sign off of it, because they're trying to basically break that majority number of signatures. So, I can't speak to the timing. I wasn't involved in the timing of the release, but it is just absolutely unequivocally clear that the White House is trying to cover this up and that Donald Trump is desperately trying to do anything he can to stop the DOJ from releasing the files that he knows he's in.
Yeah, I got to say, we're out of time, but I know two people who have seen that Justice Department file, and they said to me that there's nothing untoward directly about Trump, although he's mentioned numerous times. But this has so piqued my interest. These emails are, to me, the biggest thing that's come out so far. So thank you very much. Keep the emails coming.
Thanks so much.
Coming up.
The battle over women's locker rooms, in particular the battle that we told you about last week, women's locker rooms at gyms, just got much more heated. So we told you about the singer Tish Hyman, who was at a Gold's Gym. Well, now Tish has upped the ante. She has now gone to San Francisco, where she sat down at a town hall meeting.
Be right back.
Well, the battle over women's locker rooms, in particular the battle that we told you about last week, women's locker rooms at gyms, just got much more heated. So we told you about the singer Tish Hyman, who was at a Gold's Gym here in West Hollywood. And she lost her membership, and she went on a rant as she was leaving, because she said the issue for her was there were trans women who she says are men, she calls them men, trans women in the women's locker room
with towels,
who
and
she felt
they did not did not have their genitalia changed. She felt unsafe. She was complaining about it. She got into it with one of the transgender women.
Yep.
We had both Tish and that woman on
Alexis Black
on our show.
Right. They both told us their sides of the story last week. Well, now Tish has upped the ante. She has now gone to San Francisco, where she sat down at a town hall meeting that State Senator Scott Wiener was having. Scott Wiener, by the way, is planning to run for Nancy Pelosi's seat in the U.S. And the House of Representatives. So Scott Wiener is sitting down talking to his constituents when Tish Hyman addresses him about this issue, and it got very heated.
As a lesbian woman who was attacked in the women's locker room at Gold's Gym this week by a self-identifying trans woman, I'm deeply concerned about women's safety in female-only spaces.
So we want, everyone to be safe, and we also know that, we have trans people, both men and women, who are men and women. And so, so if you're trans women are women.
And I do respect a lot of the things you've done, but I do see a lot of these bills that you've passed that are dangerous for women and young children. And we want to know, are you going to protect women? Not trans women, women. Trans women are different things. Women. Listen, we need to protect women's safety. I was assaulted.
Women are women.
I was assaulted. No, they are not. They are men. I was assaulted by men. He broke his wife's jaw so bad she needed reconstructive surgery. You guys are not protecting women. You're doing a lot. The bills that you're passing for the law, I read a lot of them. They're great. But this things with the trans, it's not right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's really interesting because there has been this kind of thing in the LGBTQ movement where, somebody can be very supportive of LGBTQ rights, but they draw a line when it comes to trans women in sports and with locker rooms and bathrooms. And people who draw that line have been called transphobic by a number of people in the LGBT community.
At one point last night, yelled, "Look, I'm lesbian, and you're trying to tell me I'm transphobic. I'm not transphobic. I just want to be safe in the locker room." And she...
You know what, too? I think most of the country is on board with Tish.
I agree
it's
with
sort
you.
of like a 75-25 issue.
And by the way, and not just conservatives.
No, yeah, I think across the board. But I think in that room, you heard the visceral reaction they had when she said some of the things she said. It's almost like it's like a virtue signaling contest. Like, I'm more progressive than you. How dare you say something like that? What Tish said is how Americans feel by and large.
Except, see, the one thing that you could say is that, you could say we're drawing that line when it comes to locker rooms and bathrooms. Right. But at the same time, she's not acknowledging that a trans woman is a woman.
Is a woman at all.
There's more of a division there.
That's when everyone started booing her when she said trans women are men, and then that was not sitting well with the crowd there.
Clearly.
Hi guys, Ashley here from Arizona. I totally stand behind Tish. I am not trans or homophobic at all, but this isn't nothing to do with being either one of those. This is about female rights, women's rights, and we have to keep that in mind. I've been in this situation where I've been in a locker room and a woman walks in dressed as a woman and then takes their clothes off and bears male genitalia. And for me, it's not comfortable. It's just not comfortable. So I don't know why I have to sacrifice being comfortable for someone else's comfort when, the obvious. But the worst part is just thinking about my little daughter being in this position. I don't, I'm a woman, I can handle this, but my child is a child and I cannot fathom this happening to her. So yeah, I'm 100% behind Tish.
You stated that position well.
So there's a little mystery surrounding Kris Jenner's 70th birthday and some photos that were taken at that fabulous party over the weekend at the Bezos home. Well, Kris took a lot of photos, as you'd imagine, and included in those photos, she took some with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. No big deal. They were there. No big deal, right?
She took pictures pretty much with
nice
everybody.
Photo. What's the big deal?
You go there, you expect that picture.
So, for some reason,
she posted an album with all the pictures.
She posted a whole album with all of her friends who were there, as you'd expect. But the photos with Harry and Meghan have been deleted. They're no longer in that album.
Why so, Brown?
Well, we got to the bottom of this photo gate. So apparently what happened is, I didn't realize this, but in the UK on Sunday when these photos were posted, it was Remembrance Day on Sunday. Which is meant to commemorate servicemen and women in the UK.
Okay, and then what? So what?
So I guess...
No, the reason I'm saying what is, I get it.
Yeah.
They show up at a party. the one thing you know that's going to be at the party, other than gazillionaires, are cameras.
Are cameras, right?
And you know your picture is going to be taken. So if you really have a problem with that, why are you even going to the party?
But the photos were posted the next day. Like, imagine if someone looked like they were
Of course
celebrating
they
here
were.
on one of our holidays, like 9/11. It wouldn't look
We're
good.
having a big party celebrating our 20th anniversary.
Right?
Yes.
We're doing it Friday. Do you think there are going to be pictures you're going to post on Saturday?
Oh, definitely. I'll post Friday night.
Okay. Well, what's the difference? What's the difference?
Well, it's a big holiday where they're kind of like still the representatives
I know, but they
of the
show
UK.
up. He's wearing the poppy.
So hold on. So
Yes,
we should say you see in the photo there that Harry is wearing that red poppy.
For Remembrance Day.
That is for Remembrance Day. So I guess he is up to code, you would say.
But she is not.
Meghan was not wearing.
She's also an American.
Yes,
she is, but she's
married
also a member of the royal family.
I get
now.
it, but it's like you showed up at the party. You knew there were going to be cameras there. You know people are going to take your pictures. You know it's going to get public.
It's pretty simple, right? If you knew that you're going to be at this party, you knew that there were going to be cameras, you knew there'd be photos, you knew they'd be posted. If you had an issue with Remembrance Day, why wouldn't you say that to Chris or someone on her staff?
Don't take our picture.
Hey, don't post our photo. You take the photo if you want, so you can have it. But
you know what?
Don't post it.
But the thing is,
because we have an issue with Remembrance
But you know what would happen? Then there'd be no pictures of them, and people would do a story saying, "Oh, they didn't have their picture taken because they didn't want people to know they were there because of Remembrance Day." So then don't go to the party. How's that?
Oh, no fun.
Hi, Shamika Sanders from Staten Island. I personally think the Duchess knows how critical the public has been of her. She can't even make a candle on her Netflix show without backlash. So I think even though she and Harry were there dressed to the nines, she wanted to keep a low profile. And let's be honest, being Kardashian adjacent kind of feels like a cosign of other things. And listen, she was right. She's headline news today.
Well, you know, that's the other thing we talked about in the morning meeting. Maybe they wanted this publicity because with all the people who are at this party, they're getting the attention.
Coming up.
A food influencer, Michael Duarte, who went by the handle Food with Bare Hands. His family announced over the weekend that he had died. We got the information this morning about a camping trip that Michael had gone on with friends that did, as the family described it, take a horrible turn.
Be right back.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
Phoebe Rexa was looking hot on vacation.
Look at the water, too. Did you just say, look at the water?
I mean, I'll be honest, that is what I was looking at.
It's TMZ.
So we broke a big story this morning on the website about a food influencer, Michael Duarte, who went by the handle Food with Bare Hands. His family announced over the weekend that he had died. And all they said is that it was a horrible incident. There was no other description of what had happened. Well, we got the information this morning about a camping trip that Michael had gone on with friends that did, as the family described it, take a horrible turn when they decided that he was having some sort of mental break, and the people who were with him decided that they needed to call in EMS, paramedics, and police. Sheriff's deputies also arrived. This happened in Texas. And unfortunately, there was an altercation between Michael and the officials who had shown up to help him, and he ended up getting shot. So there's a lot of...
Yeah, so the sheriffs basically said that they got a call from 911 for a male subject acting erratically with the knife. When they get there, he approached them threateningly, and basically he wasn't obeying their commands. And then at one point was coming at the officers and said, "I'm gonna kill you." So one of the officers fired 2 shots. He was then transported to the hospital, and that in San Antonio, that's where he was unfortunately pronounced dead.
I mean, and the irony to it is they came to help him and ended up killing him.
Correct. And it's I guess a week or so. Him and his wife just had an anniversary. They have a daughter. I mean, it's just a tragic story.
Was it just with friends, or were family members there as well?
We don't know if family members were there. We're not sure if obviously his wife was there, but I mean, just tragic. That this guy had separately, millions and millions of followers, was known for his food blogging and whatnot, and you just...
But this is a problem when you have people with mental health issues. how do you handle it when they have a break, right? And we heard a lot about this during the pandemic, that there would be...
And it's gotten worse.
Yeah, that people would call for paramedics, but when police show up, and some people feel like the answer is that you don't send armed officers.
But if someone's if an officer's coming after you with a knife saying, I'm going to kill you.
I agree.
It's like, what are you going to do? So I don't think that's legit. But,
well, you know, I didn't say whether it was legit.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, I don't think it's legit to
supposed...
say you should go unarmed if somebody has a deadly weapon.
Right.
So I'm just saying I don't think that argument is legit.
Well, and we should say we don't know. There was no part in the report about Michael being armed here, right?
He has a knife. He had a knife.
He did have a knife.
No, he had a knife. He was coming at them with a knife.
knife.
Just the final thing is people look at celebrities and they say, oh my God, this guy is rich, this guy is famous. And they think they just have the life. And that is just the gloss, you know, and what's underneath it. It doesn't translate always to, oh, they have such a good life. It just doesn't. And people kind of mistake that a lot and think, if I only had money, if I only had this. And it just never goes that way.
Hey everybody, it's Denisha Valentine based out of Orlando, Florida. And this situation is very sad and I'm very curious to see as the details come out what really happened. But I do think that if a call was made to police in regards to somebody having a mental breakdown, the precautions should be different because clearly he was not in his right state of mind. So we've seen it happen many times where somebody has, called the police due to having some sort of mental issues and they end up unalive. And I think there should be a different type of force that should be used in those type of situations.
That's the
I
debate.
know you want them to, and I get the call for a softer hand, but when that person is armed, it becomes dangerous to others and also to themselves.
Coming up.
Kind of excited about this. I like this guy, Jack Schlossberg, who is the son of Caroline Kennedy, the grandson of JFK. President Kennedy, has thrown his hat in the ring. He's running for Congress.
Yes.
And I think he's got something to offer, this guy.
Be right back.
Welcome back to TMZ Live. I'm kind of excited about this. I like this guy, Jack Schlossberg. Who is the son of Caroline Kennedy, the grandson of JFK. President Kennedy, has thrown his hat in the ring. He's running for Congress.
Yes.
And I think he's got something to offer, this guy.
12th Congressional District in New York State. The seat is currently held by Jerry Nadler.
Who's retiring.
Who is retiring. And Jack Schlossberg is going to make a run at it. Yet another generation of Kennedys. Potentially getting into politics. Well, he's in politics now because he's running. This is what Jack said. This is how he announced his candidacy.
The president has made almost $1 billion this year. He's picking winners and losers from inside the Oval Office. It's cronyism, not capitalism. The worst part is, it doesn't have to be this way. And it wasn't always. We deserve better, and we can do better. And it starts with the Democratic Party winning back control of the House of Representatives. With control of Congress, there's nothing we can't do. Without it, we're helpless to a third term. My name is Jack Schlossberg, and I'm running for Congress.
So, aside from the fact that he is a really smart guy, he's got something going for him that I think is going to be really hard to beat, which is he is a master at social media.
Absolutely.
A master at it.
And we've had him on the show talking about some of the things he's said and done on social media. Remember, we had him on, a few months ago during the summer.
Right.
He was doing a YouTube show.
From a van that he was living in, going all over the country.
And he did say to us that, because we asked him about potentially running, he said, well, stand by.
Right.
And now he's made that announcement.
He had a plan.
And remember, this seat is held by Jerry Nadler, who's a noted Trump antagonist, ran the first impeachment process against President Trump early on, back during the first administration. He was on TMZ Live talking about that Melania Trump video he did, where he read the letter in her accent.
In her accent, he had a wig on.
He had a wig on and everything, and she was talking about the Ukrainian refugees and so forth. He knows how to whip up social media into a frenzy. It runs in his blood, too.
Did you notice? The very first thing he said in that video, one of the first words he used in the first sentence was billionaire.
Yep.
And that is resonating with people. They are anti-billionaire. Look at what happened in New York City, and he jumped on that. That's not an accident.
He's also
that he said that.
Political royalty who talked about riding a bus. So some of it is a little bit. This is one of the most privileged families in political existence. He's from Camelot.
Why do you think it's so shocking that?
I just don't
people
believe
in
it.
New York City,
Well, it's in New York.
even very wealthy people
They
in New York
take
City,
They take the subway.
No, Derek.
very wealthy people in New York City use public
Two of
transit,
us lived there.
subways,
One of us
buses. Right.
I've lived there for
No,
about 4
you
months.
did not.
In
Get
between
outta
college and
here.
law school.
But he's a really interesting guy. Watch him.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kamar from Atlanta, and I will second you. When it comes to social media, he is a beast, but we also have to recognize this. He is cousins with RFK, and he's pretty tight with the president. His Instagram video, it was a little shady, but I would tell you this. Here's the real play. A House seat is a clean runway for a future presidential bid. He's charismatic, and he's a Kennedy, but I will say this. I think he is gearing up to run for president, so I'll just keep my eyes on
Well,
the story.
his grandfather started by in the House of Representatives. So
yeah, one small step at a time. We should say though, as you might imagine, his mom, Caroline Kennedy, is a little concerned. There's a report that she is concerned about, her son getting into politics, and with the family history, she's worried about violence. If that's true, you could certainly understand.
Of course.
Well, sometimes life does imitate art. Akon, one of his most celebrated songs, Locked Up, guess what? Got locked up.
Life imitating art.
Yes. He did get locked up in Georgia. He is out already, but there was little mystery as to why he was arrested at all. Well, we have now gotten to the bottom of it. It has to do with his Cybertruck.
I mean, Akon has enough money to get a driver, but he got arrested because he had a suspended license driving his Cybertruck. Those things must be addictive.
Now, well, hold on. He got his license was suspended. Why? Because he had abandoned?
Well, yeah,
or that was found on the side of the road.
Yeah, he was found on the side of the road, and they had issued a bench warrant for his arrest.
Oh,
And
no,
he
no, no.
never- and so it was failure to appear.
Yeah.
And then he got his license suspended.
It's the bench warrant that got him arrested, because I don't think you necessarily get arrested just for a suspended license.
Well, they don't let you drive, right?
Well, they don't let you drive, but that doesn't mean they throw you in jail. It's the arrest warrant
that he didn't appear.
That he didn't appear. That's why he ended up in the pokey. Well, no, it is.
We just like when you suddenly just throw in like really old time terms like the pokey.
Letitia in Dallas, I am so glad we found out what happened, because Akon is really not in the news so much, other than his wife filing for divorce back in September. But you know what? He's in India and she's with him. But sidebar back to the arrest. I'm glad it's not anything bad, because everybody loves that song. If you play it at the wedding reception, if you play it at the club, we locked up, we liking that. I would hate to have to remove him from my good vibes playlist. So Akon, go ahead on and get your license together. Stop riding dirty. Stop it.
Can I just say something to you? I know this is a little off topic, but when I was really young, and I bought a house, and I ended up redoing the kitchen, and I had the exact same cabinets, and it just brought me back to my youth. So you've made me feel better today, so thank you.
Oh, good. I love it.
Coming up.
Taylor Swift fans, get ready for her at the Sphere.
That would be amazing.
Now, she has not actually announced a show at the Sphere, but there is a possibility.
Oh, I'm smelling it.
Fans are hoping that she'll come do Elizabeth Taylor while we do Backstreet's Back.
Be right back.
Taylor Swift fans, get ready for her at the Sphere.
That would be amazing.
Now, she has not actually announced a show at the Sphere, but there is a possibility.
Oh, I'm smelling it. I'm smelling this. This is going to happen.
Far-fetched, but I actually think it could happen.
It's going to happen.
So we got AJ McLean from the Backstreet Boys. We got him out at LAX, and we talked to him about this big collab that someone put together.
It's a mashup between Elizabeth Taylor and Backstreet Boys.
Taylor's new song, Elizabeth Taylor.
And everybody. So the internet's gone wild over this.
Yeah. So AJ's got an idea about how to bring this thing to life Here's what he told us.
Everybody's come back from Vegas raving about your show at the Sphere. What's it been like?
I feel like we're bigger than we were in '99. There's nothing like it. And I think you're going to start to see more pop acts and more artists coming in there.
Who would you like to see to perform there?
Coldplay is my number one. I don't know if she'd ever do it, but I think Taylor would absolutely destroy it. LYD, she's an incredible DJ, did this remix between, you know, Elizabeth Taylor and Backstreet's Back. Blew up, it's still going. I mean, fans are hoping that she'll come do Elizabeth Taylor while we do Backstreet's Back.
Are you hoping?
I mean, we would break the planet if that happened.
I think he's right, but they've been friends. They've been together
a fan.
and she's a big fan, and she's
She was like 10 when Backstreet Boys were
Perfect
huge.
age.
She was the perfect age for that. Yeah, and this is a good thing to do. And she's also said she's not going to tour for her new album, Life of a Showgirl. Obviously, she's exhausted from the Eras tour. She needs a break. This is a good way to kind of get back on stage without committing to a tour.
Just do a couple of appearances.
There's no way she doesn't do the Sphere at some point. Just go test it out, see how it is on stage without having to commit to doing a show.
On their dime.
On their dime.
Exactly. Just
Their
show
crew.
up, do the song.
It's such a good idea.
Get a feel for it.
Totally safe too. I mean, it will blow the lid off that place.
Oh
yeah, it'd be huge.
My name is Asif, and if Taylor Swift and the Backstreet Boys will perform together, it will break the entire universe. It's amazing how you can take an old hit song like Everybody Backstreet's Back and mix it with a new song like Elizabeth Taylor, which is one of my favorite songs on the new Taylor album, and make something that sounds so good out of it. So good that even Taylor Swift and the Backstreet Boys themselves love it. It just makes you want to dance.
Oh, I got a good question for you boys. Who's bigger, Elizabeth Taylor or Taylor?
What?
Which Taylor is bigger?
Ooh, that's.
If you answer, you're gonna piss off somebody. So I'm good.
Oh, that's a good one, huh?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think I might say Taylor.
How about this? We'll just say Taylor Swift actually responded to AJ, and she said, "Oh, hi AJ. Oh my God." So
I don't know what that
saying
means.
there's a chance.
It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. It's definitely happening.
Coming up.
Very familiar face on Dancing with the Stars last night. That would be the former host, Tom Bergeron.
Wow.
And
I love Tom.
Tom was great.
Remember, they put him out to pasture, I think, in 2020.
I don't know that. Do you still want to say that? Yeah, putting out to pasture is a little rough, but anyway.
Kind of what they did.
Yes. So while he was on, Tom was actually critical of the show right now.
Be right back.
The TMZ Brunch Bus is the ultimate Sunday fun day as we roll through West Hollywood and stop for snacks and cocktails at the Henry, Lisa Vanderpump's Tom Tom, and the butcher, the baker, the cappuccino maker. Plus, there's live entertainment, surprise giveaways, and a DJ dropping beats along the way. The festivities kick off every Sunday at 12:30, so head to TMZTour.com to book your tickets for the TMZ Brunch Bus.
Very familiar face on Dancing with the Stars last night. That would be the former host, Tom Bergeron.
Wow.
And
I love Tom.
Tom was great, man.
I love him.
So it's just nice.
He's also a really good guy.
Yes, nice to see him back on the set there. What's interesting is they clearly invited him. He didn't crash. Like, he didn't just show up and grab a mic. They wanted him there.
Remember, they put him out to pasture, I think, in 2020.
I don't know that. Do you still want to say that? Yeah, putting out the pasture is a little rough, but anyway.
Kind of what they did.
Yes.
Because he was also, he criticized the direction of the show. They put Sean Spicer on, Trump's former
Right, he didn't want to
press
go
secretary,
political.
and didn't want to go political.
Right. So while he was on, Tom was actually critical of the show right now, which is having tremendous success. Yet you get that call, and here's what Tom had to say.
You guys were great, but in my last comments as a judge, I want to talk to the network. This show is setting ratings records again. So next season, bring back the results show. Yeah! Let the whole country vote. Let everybody vote.
Wow.
So I guess the way it
He
works
came back
now,
with fire.
they don't have the results show, so if you're on the
people on the West Coast right now, if you want to vote, you can start voting on your phone at 4:30, but you have to do it. You're basically voting blind.
But
So
wait
it's like a
voting. You're not even watching the people.
Correct. If you want to vote,
Well,
you
that's
live.
absurd.
That's what we're saying, Harvey. Thank you. This
That's
is an
absurd.
outrage. So, and that's why it's turning into like a
That's an
popularity
outrage.
contest, and everyone was so upset about like Andy making it so
stupid.
far. 'Cause
I mean,
thank you. Yes,
that's
it
just
is.
stupid. How
So
do you
what
vote for
Tom is
somebody when
saying
you
is-
haven't even seen him perform?
So it used to be that there was a separate night.
They had a
just
separate
for
night, like
votes,
American
just for
Idol
voting.
did.
Yeah, so like all of America watched their different
That's
times,
right.
whatever,
But
and then the voting was
They
calculated.
probably stopped doing that because the ratings hadn't been there in previous years, but now
No.
that they have
all of
ratings.
America is watching the show.
Yeah, this is, they got to bring that back.
That's what I'm saying. I really am
You know what?
upset we can't.
Tom's right. You should get Tom, you should do a trade-off. You help Tom with his campaign and he'll help with OWTA.
I like it.
Genius work,
I like
Charles.
it.
Genius
Collab,
work.
bringing them together.
Hey, what's up? This is Vic in Chicago. Two things. First, actually, putting out to pasture has been canceled. It is offensive to cattle and other range animals.
Sorry.
But also, for Tom, congrats. This is what we do for the bag. This is like being asked to DJ your ex's wedding reception who's dumped you twice. But I'll do it until time for the bag, so go get the bag, Tom.
Oh,
You know, I got to tell you, I just thought
right.
of something. How is, if he objected to Sean Spicer, how's he going to embrace OWTA?
We'll work on that. We'll work on
What
that.
else you guys want to talk about?
Hey guys, what's up? It's Diamond in Dallas. Now listen, I'm sure that Kris Jenner had good reason for deleting the royal couple's photos. Now, at the same time, I would just, if it were me, I would just be just over the moon if I was in the room. I would not give a hot diggity damn if she deleted my photos. Just being in the room alone is a flex because we all know that Kris Jenner is the blueprint. And for that reason, she is my hero.
I don't know about
Period.
that, but she had a great facelift. One more.
I'm Jake from Utah, and I'm talking about the Trump and Epstein emails. Personally, I think Donald Trump, that's a nasty, nasty man right there, okay? I don't know how many times that man can catch allegations before the American people start to just kind of, think at least maybe one of those has got to be a little bit true, you know what I mean?
Well, he's having difficulty with this one. He just is.
Yeah, I mean, well, he's not going to run again, so this time it doesn't.
We don't know about that.
That's true.
Coming up.
Another bad day for President Lincoln.
Oh.
I know, many years later. Because the penny is officially dead.
Yay!
The U.S. has minted the final penny
Thank
that it is going
God.
to make. There will be no more walking around and see a penny, pick it up, and, well, I mean, they'll still be out there for a while, but eventually, they'll all be gone.
Be right back.
Another bad day for President Lincoln.
Oh.
I know, many years later. Because the penny is officially dead.
Yay!
The U.S. has minted the final penny
Thank
that it is going
God.
to make. There will be no more walking around and see a penny, pick it up, and, well, I mean, they'll still be out there for a while, but eventually, they'll all be gone.
But
They've minted the last one today. It now costs 3.7 cents to make a penny.
I mean,
so...
But can I tell
Think
you
of the deficit we're going to...
You know the implications of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can no longer say penny wise, pound foolish. You can no longer wear
In for a
penny
penny,
loafers.
in for a penny,
in for a pound. It's
Which
gonna-
always seemed like a weird one to me. I don't know.
It will completely change our lexicon. This is cataclysmic, folks. We hate leaving you on
Next
a
up, by the
note
way.
like this.
Next up.
The nickel.
The nickel, which costs 14 cents to make. So once they start erasing these, the deficit is going to just shrink like that. All the money we're blowing.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Fill your piggy banks.